Fandrey, and I'm honored to be invited to speak to you tonight as a Rainbow Society Wish recipient. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing me to share my story and express my sincere appreciation for your support on behalf of myself, the Society, and my fellow Wish recipients. My story begins in 2009. I was a grade 8 student, and like most boys, sports were my passion. My favorite sport was hockey. I was a bantamate goalie playing on the Red Deer minor hockey program, but I was also involved in snowboarding, dirt biking, football, and volleyball. On December 10th of that year, I played a hockey game at the Red Deer Arena, and for whatever reason that night, I just knew where the puck was going, and I got there first. It didn't matter whether I needed to use my blocker, my glove, or my butterfly. I was able to get the piece of that puck. It goes without saying, we won the game that night, and to my 13-year-old self, it was the game of my life. I left the rink so pumped. Although I had no clue that I would ever play stand-up hockey again. I remember talking excitedly to my parents on the way home about how great the game was and how well I had played. I even briefly remember mentioning that I must have twisted in the wrong way during a save, because my back hurt a bit, but nothing. Certainly not a little back pain could dampen my spirits for that night. I remember the next morning, the pain in my back was a little worse and seemed to affect my right hip. By the following day, that dull, annoying throb had become an angry, searing pain, and now radiated through my back, my hip, and down to my knee. Walking on my right side had become virtually impossible, as any weight bearing increased the pain. By that evening, all I wanted to do was lay in bed, but even sleep became impossible, as rolling over was excruciating. This prompted the first of multiple trips to the emergency room in the Red Deer Regional Hospital, and was the beginning of 3 months of hospitalization, testings, and surgeries, initially in Red Deer and eventually in the Stollery's Children's Hospital in Edmonton. During this time, many diagnoses were explored, like sepsis, rheumatoid arthritis, like Kaposi disease, and also cancer. But it wasn't until March 2010 that I finally received a confirmed diagnosis of avascular necrosis, or AVN for short. AVN is a progressive degenerative disease that results when there is no blood flow to a particular region of the body. In my case, my right hip was affected. For a few brief moments after receiving the news, I was a bit relieved because at least I knew what was wrong. But the doctors started talking. I remember them saying things like, "There's no cure. This will have a significant negative impact on the rest of my life, and I have played my last hockey game." These are not reassuring things for a 13-year-old athlete to hear. I remember leaving the hospital feeling a bundle of emotions, including fear, self-pity, and despair. That lasted until I reached the parking lot. By the time I had gotten into a vehicle and buckled up, the only feeling I was feeling was determination. I knew that without a doubt, I had not played my last hockey game. Up until my diagnosis, I had no experience with dealing with health crisis and certainly not disabilities. It was necessary for me and my family to search out resources to keep me engaged despite my medical condition. Within 1 month of my diagnosis, I was playing roller sledge hockey here in Red Deer, as well as participated in an ice hockey practice with the Red Deer Rage sledge hockey team. In July of that year, I attended a sledge hockey development camp in Camrose, where I had the privilege of being coached by Adam Dixon and Benoit St. Amand, 2 members of the Olympic gold medal winning sledge hockey team. From this camp, I became aware of PSA, the Paralympic Sports Association in Edmonton. Their wide array of disabled youth sports helped me to get back in the game. My involvement in PSA not only allowed me to get back in the game, but it was also a wealth of information, resources to assist me and my family to navigate the uncharted territories present by my sudden disability. One of those resources was the Rainbow Society, an organization dedicated to fulfilling wishes of critically or terminally ill children. As previously stated, prior to my diagnosis, I was a really active youth, and while PSA now offered me the opportunity to play my favorite sport, hockey, I knew that was not enough. For my entire life, my family has been taking yearly vacations to British Columbia, resulting in me starting skiing at 21 months of age and expanding my horizon at at 7 to include snowboarding. As this is a pivotal part of my family culture, I was not prepared to give it up. Therefore, this November, or the November of 2010, I got involved in a sit-ski program in Calgary. I took to this adapted sport like the proverbial duck to water, as evident of me trying out and making the Alberta Pair Alpine Ski Team in February 2011, only 3 months after I had started skiing. It was truly amazing to me that within 11 months of being told how debilitating this disease would be and how limited my life was going to be, I was very active, engaged, and involved in disabled sports and performing at a level that actually succeeded the levels I had been able to acquire in mainstream sporting world. This knowledge allowed me to once again set goals and dream big, something I could not even consider doing in March of 2010. The first goal I set was to represent our country in the future Olympics as a para-athlete. To become an elite athlete in any sport requires dedication, commitment, training, and resources. In the world of disabled sports, one of the challenges is the significant cost of adaptive equipment that will meet the unique needs of every athlete. Rainbow Society and supporters like yourself have made their mission to remove these barriers. In 2010, the director of PSA, knowing how motivated I was to reach my athletic goals, referred me to the Rainbow Society. I subsequently submitted an application and met Roxanne, a member of the organization, where we discussed my hopes, my dreams, my aspiration, and my future. A short while later, the Wish Committee reviewed my story and informed me that I would be receiving my very own sit-ski, but that was not even the best part. The committee took into consideration my athletic abilities before my illness and how quickly I was able to adapt and excel in disabled sport, and chose to purchase state-of-the-art equipment. This equipment is made in Germany and would allow me not only to participate fully in my ski vacations with my family, but it would also give me the opportunity to compete at the highest possible level in this sport. They even let me customize my bucket to this beautiful bright traffic yellow. It's amazing. I love it. But they took into consideration my personality, that I always like to stick out in the crowd, as you can tell by my green wheelchair. So this past winter, I took my sit-ski and traveled with my team to Park City, Utah to compete in the Huntsville Cup. And while I didn't bring home any hardware, I finished top 10. Not bad considering it was my first competition, and some of my fellow competitors included members of the U.S. Paralympic team. Despite these successes, there have been setbacks along the way. Unlike many of Rainbow Society's wish recipients, I am very fortunate that AVN is not able to threaten my life. However, it has continued to progress and now affects both my hips and pelvis. My battle with AVN is anticipated to be one I will continue to fight for the rest of my life. However, the support and resources provided by organizations like Rainbow Society allows me to face the future with hope, courage, and determination. So while your contributions to the Rainbow Society may not prolong the life of a terminally ill child, or lead to the cure for avascular necrosis or other progressive and degenerative diseases wish recipients are living with, I think it does something just as important, in some ways maybe even more important. Your contributions ensure that regardless of how long a life may be or what challenge a wish recipient may receive, they can still achieve goals and fulfill dreams. And I think that is a common quest that all humans undertake in the journey to find purpose and meaning in our lives. And it is so with profound gratitude that I thank each and every one of you for supporting me in my journey and allowing me to fulfill my dreams. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Tanner.